Greetings and welcome to Professor Macabro's Horror DVD Update. The last two videos I shared, we looked at a whole bunch of blind buys, movies that I picked up but I have never seen before. This time around, for the most part, I will share movies that I have seen at some point or another, and I was just missing in the collection. So, let's get started. First off, we have The Relic. And boy, am I happy to get this one. This is a monster horror movie about this guy that goes somewhere in the jungle, and he is giving these leaves, and he takes the leaves back to America because he works at a museum, and everything's, you know, what it is, and then all of a sudden a monster appears, a reptilian-looking monster that eats people. Now, I'm not sure if this has a Blu-ray release that cleans it up a bit, but this movie is pretty dark, and not in the dark like, oh man, that's dark, that's too messed up. No, it's visually, it's kind of dark, but it might be that they released it later and cleaned it up. But I was missing it, and I am an old-fashioned kind of guy. I mean, if I could get VHSs readily available, I would get VHSs, but DVD is what I have for the most part, so I am happy to add The Relic on DVD. Haha! Next up, we have the movie Magma. And I am a fan of disaster movies. I do enjoy a good disaster movie. When it's done brilliantly, like the Towering Inferno, mwah, chef's kiss. But also I do enjoy these cheesy, poorly made horror movie with terrible CGI stuff, and that's the case with this one. This one is about, so all of a sudden, all the volcanoes around the world are having eruptions, and people are getting destroyed. But they die in very horribly done CGI lava effects, but I like that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Seeing people try to react to something that's not there and then being overtaken by this terrible CGI magma is very enjoyable to me. But this one in particular, I also picked it up because it stars Amy Jo Johnson, the Pink Power Ranger herself, who also has appeared in a movie that I've shared before, Infested. The one with the CGI flies. That one was pretty good. And Amy Jo Johnson is really good in this. I actually really enjoyed this movie. So I would recommend it. Next one. I have a thing for Alicia Cuthbert. I'm not gonna lie. She was the highlight in that House of Wax remake, and whenever I come across her in a DVD, I pick it up because, you know, why not? And this one is one that I've been trying to search for and finally got a copy of Captivity. Alicia Cuthbert is this model that gets captive, and she is in captivity by this guy that is psychologically torturing her, and it is what it is, but Alicia Cuthbert is Alicia Cuthbert, so yes, please, I went with that one as soon as I saw it. And in that vein, I picked up The Quiet, also starring Alicia Cuthbert, and the chick that was in the When a Stranger Calls remake, which I always confuse her with the chick that played Judge Anderson in the Dread movie, but it's two different actresses. I don't know why I mix her up with the other one. But yes, this one, this chick, whose name I don't remember, is supposedly deaf and can't speak. So all this messed up family tells her her secrets, and Alicia Cuthbert especially has a really messed up secret to share. But again, Alicia Cuthbert, yes please. Next one is The Last Exorcism Part 2, which, with a title like The Last Exorcism, you would think the first part would be the last, but no, they kind of are like, well, that was a success, let's make a sequel. And boy, did they. So now I have both of these. The last Exorcism was actually really good. I highly enjoyed that one. Next one, we have the remake of Toolbox Murders. This is directed by Toby Hooper, if memory serves me right. Yeah, I remember this being okay. I do want to get the original one, but now I have the remake. This is Brush with Death. And this is, if anyone remembers the Faces of Death, it was this compilation of both staged and real-life deaths. And this one has, it's not as good. I remember seeing this, and Faces of Death, and thinking, short story, at one point, I'm a professor, but at one point, I wanted to be a doctor. And someone was like, well, if you want to be doctors, you should be ready for blood and guts. And I'm like, well, I'm already a horror fan, so I'm kind of used to it. But anyway, they tried to, I don't know, scare me away from the profession or prepare me by showing me Faces of Death and Brush with Death. And, well, quite frankly, I've seen worse in horror movies. They were actually taken aback by how unaffected I was by seeing people die in real life. And I'm like, I'm desensitized. What's the point? Long story short, I didn't become a doctor because of the moolah. But, yes, that's my story with Faces of Death and Brush with Death. Someone tried to scare me away from the profession or prepare me, I don't know. And they were kind of taken aback by how unfazed I was with that kind of stuff. Next one, Silent Era. Finally, a copy of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Would have preferred a Kino release. I think Kino released Dr. Caligari, or maybe Criterion has a much better looking copy, but I'll take what I can get. Have this one. I'm missing Metropolis, and I will have the silent movies that I enjoy, but if anyone doesn't know what it's about this mad person that uses a sleepwalker to kill people, and there might be a plot twist at the end. I don't know. I'm not telling. You're going to have to watch it. Next up, we have this Hammer documentary DVD, which is still sealed. I need to see it. This one is a series of interviews with the cast of various Hammer movies that they did at a convention. So it's basically just snippets of those interviews. But I like Hammer, and I like these kind of unique documentary interview kind of things. So I saw this, and I was like, why, yes, I am picking that up, because why wouldn't I? The last one to share is More Brains, the documentary to Return of the... almost said Night of the Living Dead, but Return of the Living Dead, sort of based on Night of the Living Dead, so there you go. But this is the documentary of Return of the Living Dead, one of the most awesome zombie movies ever. And this one is a really cool documentary. It goes really deep into Return of the Living Dead, and it also has some really, really good mini documentaries on Return of the Living Dead Part 2, Part 3, and various interviews, stuff that was taken out from the main documentary and as a special feature. This is good. This I like. I like this one. This one and Just Desserts, the documentary for Creepshow, is really good. And maybe you'll see one more in the next video. But yes, I highly recommend this one if you can track it down. I don't know if it's included in the one of the deluxe Blu-rays releases of Return of the Living Dead. But I've heard that if it is, it's chopped up, and this is the only way to get the complete one. So I don't know. That's stuff you read on the internet. If it's on the internet, it must be true, but not always. But yes, that was the horror DVD update that I have. When I remember, and I think I've forgotten the last one, but when I remember, I like to recommend the standouts that I've picked up. And I can't find it, but I'm going to go with More Brains, a documentary for Return of the Living Dead. That one is really good, some really good interviews, and Magma. I like it. I relate this akin to Shark Attack 3 Megalodon in the level of cheesy effects, and I love the hell out of Shark Attack 3 Megalodon. So I was watching this and I'm like, yep, that's kind of the same thing, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, thanks so much for watching this horror DVD update. I have one more, possibly two. I don't know. I don't know if to make a really long one or two short ones, but expect more updates from me, and we'll see what else I can pop up on the channel. Let me know what you think of my attempt at a spooky lighting atmosphere. I would like to get some feedback on that, if you please. But until I see you all again next time, I wish you, like always, a good evening.